Okay, so in this video I'm going to show you how to capture FTP off the wire using Wireshark. So I'm using a Python script once again. I'm importing Wireshark. I'm doing a live capture on Ethernet 0. So this Ubuntu host is going to be capturing traffic in real time off Ethernet 0. And then I've got a loop here saying that for packet capture, if it's an FTP packet, so look for FTP in the packet. In other words, find out if it's an FTP packet. This is a try and exception rule, which basically says try and do something. If there's a problem with the output here, then just continue with the script. Don't break the script. So try and do the following. Output equals packet.ftp. So we're looking for an FTP packet. And then if we find user in this output, which I've made a string, print username, and then print the actual output as a string. Otherwise, in other words, else if, look for pass in the string, and then print this output out. So it's actually going to be easier just to show you this. So let's run the script, and then I'll show you what it's doing exactly again. So I'll create a script called ftp.py, paste that script in. So this is a very basic script that I've written once again. So cat ftp.py, there's our very basic script. What I'll do now is run that script. So Python ftp.py. So Python 3 running ftp.py. Nothing's happening at the moment, but what I'll do is copy the running config from the router to the toolbox server. So the first thing I need to do is specify a FTP username, which in this case I'm going to specify as root, and FTP password in this case is going to be GNS3. That is the username and password that I need to use on the FTP server, which is running on Toolbox 1. So this is the FTP server. IP address ends in 99. So let's get that Ubuntu console up. Here it is. And then on the router, what I'll do now is copy the running config from the router to the FTP server. IP address 192.168.122.99. That's the IP address of the toolbox server. Config will be that. This will then log into the FTP server and copy the config, which it's done. Notice writing config, that's been done. But notice on my Ubuntu host, I can see username is root, password is GNS3. I've just formatted the output nicely using this little script. So looking for user, there it found it, prints this output. So prints username, there we go, prints the output. That's what it's captured. So the FTP layer, in other words, in the OSI model, it's not layer 2, it's not layer 3, it's higher layers. So this is actually an application. FTP runs on TCP, so it's not layer 2 Ethernet, not 3, which is IP, not 4, which is TCP. It's layers 5 to 7 FTP. Username is this. Password is GNS3. You can see that in the output there. So it's looking for the username, looking for the password, and essentially printing it out. So let's do that again. Copy running config FTP. FTP server is this. Notice once again that I'm copying the config from this router to this toolbox. But because I'm running span here, the Ubuntu client is seeing this. Now you could use hacking tools like Ettercap to poison the network. Or you could do other things such as set up a rogue DHCP server and default gateway to manipulate where traffic goes. And I'll show you some of those using Kali Linux in this course. So copy the config to the FTP server. It's done. And notice there again is our username and password. So you could, once again, run a script and simply get this running in the background and save it to a file or email it to you or do something else so that you get the username and password off the wire. Okay, so that was an example of FTP. Let's try Telnet. Telnet is not a good idea, neither is FTP and other clear text protocols. in a network, we should use encrypted protocols whenever possible.